Somebody called the doctor because the Boston Bruins choked. Hi, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. And to be specific, I mean the Boston Bruins choked away the home ice advantage that they had created for themselves within the series with my Buffalo Sabres. Coming away from Buffalo, Boston had all the momentum. There's no way to deny that. That's just true. Boston had all the momentum. They had to come away from Buffalo with one game stolen away. And the game they took, they looked like the absolute dominant team. They looked like the team that was going to win the series. They looked absolutely, they're in all phases. Offense, defense. They had the Sabres in a blender. And then the series moved to Boston. And Boston scored the first goal of their 2 games at home. And it looked like more of the same. It looked like the Sabres were on their way to perhaps a 4-1 series loss. And then something happened. The Sabres scored the next 9 goals of the next 2 games. Boston had created for itself home ice advantage. That's what they did by winning 1 goal in Buffalo, because that meant of the next, of the next 5 games, or if I did that math right, of the next 5 games, 3 of them were going to be in Boston. If you're the team without home ice advantage, that's what you want. That is exactly what you need to do. And then, I don't know what got into Boston. Maybe the Buffalo Blade Gang scared them. I know Buffalo Blade Gang would scare me. Those guys just skating around Boston, declaring it Buffalo home ice. And that's the way the Sabres treated the TD Garden. They treated it as Buffalo home ice. First in Game 3, the Sabres give up a goal and then score the next 3. And then in Game 4, my God, a 4-point explosion in the first period, a second period that was back and forth, and a third period where 2 more goals were just scored to add the icing to the cake. In Game 2, I think the Boston Bruins had a good recipe for beating the Sabres. It was slow them down, drag them into the muck, try to keep them, just force them to dump passes into the offensive zone and force them to chase it. The thing is, the Boston Bruins were not nearly big enough, fast enough, or physical enough to keep that strategy up. The return of Noah Ostlund and Alex Lyon to the lineup made big differences as both players, Alex Lyon in net, Noah Ostlund on the third line. These guys have made a massive difference for the Sabres offensively in terms of keeping up their speed from their, top 3 lines and, keeping pucks out of the net. But I think the real key here is just simply that after 1 game and taking some momentum, I think Boston just got a little cocky. I think they just got a little bit big for their britches. Keep in mind, folks, going into this series, no one would have been surprised if the Sabres have a chance to win it in 5 here on home ice in Buffalo. No one would have been surprised if that was the outcome, because the Sabres won the Atlantic, one of the toughest divisions in the NHL, and the Bruins came in as a wild card. They earned their wild card spot, to be clear, but they came into the playoffs as a wild card. Like, that's the math there is pretty clear. The Buffalo Sabres were favored and should have been favored. But when the Bruins stole a game on Sabres home ice, all of a sudden the eyes of, the Boston faithful, and I think the Boston Bruins themselves got a little wide. They got like, we've got this. We can win this. Yeah, these are just the Sabres of old. And here's the problem with that. These are not the Buffalo Sabres of old. These Buffalo Sabres don't back down. Now, wisely, in games 3 and 4, the Sabres kept all of their malice and violence to active play. They stayed out, mostly they stayed out of scrums. They stayed out of, trying to appear to be the tougher team and did what they're good at. Nearly every goal from game 4 was some kind of defensive play flipping into an offensive 2-on-1. And that's the Sabres game. They will outskate you and force you into just dumb plays, right? They'll just force you into bad passes. They'll force you into, tipped passes. They'll force you to just do something to get around them, and that's where they thrive. In game 2, they played into Boston's game a little bit, which was really slow things down, muck things up, and that doesn't work for the Sabres. It can work for the Sabres, but it's not their ideal game. They're not built for it. Even their big guys like Tage Thompson, he's a fast skater. He wants to be playing at speed. And the Sabres, when you look at them, you realize they're not even really firing on all cylinders yet. Tage Thompson had an excellent game 1. On the scoreboard, he's been quiet. He's played very well. Alex Took has consistently been playing really well. Rasmus Dahlin still leaves a lot to be desired for the Sabres right now, but not in a bad way. He's not playing badly. He just has another gear he can hit that he hasn't hit yet. In the meantime, the second and third lines have been incredibly active on the scoreboard, which should be worrying for other teams. I know it's worrying for the Boston Bruins right now. I originally said 6 games. I'm going to say 6 games still. Sabres have to win 1 of the next 3 to move on in the series. I'm going to stick with 6 games because, God help me, I can't change it. I can't change a bet. But I don't think Boston has much fight left in them. I just don't. I just don't, right? Like at the end of the game yesterday, Zadorov, out of nowhere, cross-checked Dahlin and broke his stick on him. Like, there's no reason for that. That's a mental error that there's no reason to take, right? You left your team in a man disadvantage for the very end of an obviously lopsided game. Swayman was screaming at his teammates. Jeremy Swayman was screaming at his teammates after he got pulled. Although everybody on the Boston sideline or the Boston bench was making a big, big deal about the fact that no, it wasn't his fault that 6 goals got let in. Come on. Jeremy Swayman started this series off playing very, very well. He has since not played very well. You want to tell me that his defense is completely letting him down and that he's getting unfair looks on net and there's empty nets and everything else? Yeah, okay, great. But guess what? Every goalie gets bad looks. Every goalie gets bad looks. Letting in 6 goals is not a good look for you. And I don't remember if 1 goal got in after the new goalie started, but, it doesn't matter. He wasn't playing well. And the sort of nonsense of like, no, he's playing well, I think is just sort of mind games of the Boston Bruins to try and keep their really only viable goaltender in a good headspace. That's my thought on that. They play tomorrow night, Boston Bruins, Buffalo Sabres. I'll work on a prediction and give it to you tomorrow. In the meantime, to those of you who tuned in to First Thought Fridays with Lauren, glad I got a response. I got a response over on TikTok, some response on Instagram, and more response on YouTube than it normally gets, so I thank you for that. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy all my takes. If you don't enjoy my takes, leave a comment. Love to hear it. Love to talk to you. And if you do enjoy my takes, also leave a comment. I also enjoy those, believe it or not. In the meantime, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a great day.